And it might have been something that T1 were looking to try and pair with one another if they wanted to just double down on all of that magic damage.
Ooh, that's a pivot. Teddy might be piloting the Cassiopeia.
Yeah, and this is what we were
moved
sort of
that
half weirdly expecting.
Did they just move it after 20 seconds?
Remember, it's done as a response to what the players do, right? So we're a little bit laggy as far as what our production does, as far as putting the right pictures up. So it will be Teddy on the Cassio. And we had an inkling that this might be happening, but it is going to be Lucian into the Nico. And Faker going to have a whole lot of lane control in the early game. I actually really like mid lane Lucian for just all-out aggression in the early stage of the game.
This will be really interesting. T1, obviously, with a massive draft win. You have Ornn. He's going to be able to give over ornaments in the later stages of the game. Cassiopeia goes all the way. Lucian really effective against the short range. And just the reliance to stick on the side of DragonX. They pivot him into mid lane against the Nico. So we'll see what DragonX can manage to do with it. Obviously, Nico going to be going Glacial. We'll have Twin Shadows. We'll have GLP 800. That can add some sticking power. But in a straight-up teamfight, the raw DPS from Lucian and Cassiopeia is just so high, and Xayah can't really get close-quarter combat with any of these champions.
No. She does have the added safety of the Feather Storm, of course, but I don't know whether that is going to be enough to get it over the line or even make it feel like a pick that is worth the spot, right? Because Caitlyn was still there and would have been able to provide more pressure in the early stage against the short range of T1's comp and bottom lane. And he just played it, you know? And it's pretty good. But we'll see exactly what does happen.
Well, so far at the very start of the game, we're just going to have a very defensive opening by both of these parties. And double corrupting potion here in mid lane. Faker 7-1 on the Lucian.
Damn.
Honestly, I mean, how is it not 8-0, Atlas? Come on.
Yeah, that's true. If I was LS, I wouldn't be impressed. That's how that goes.
Only 7-1. Anyways.
Please stop. Please stop. Is Deft looking very pretty in his skin? I mean, it's a very pretty skin, so that's good. We've got that.
That is true. These skins are quite nice. You can make sure to pick these up in the shop if you do want it. Cassiopeia with the Conqueror, Presence of Mind, Taste of Blood, and Ravenous on her as well. And one of the reasons that Cassiopeia fell out of popularity in top, mid, and AD, unless your name is Fnatic Nemesis, is mostly because she had the nerf via the Presence of Mind, and then a lot of other people think that she's really difficult to find spots in, and that is kind of true. She is a red side champion because she comes in as a response to a team composition that attacks and tries to all-in you, and then just her control offered through Miasma, as well as her ultimate, it just wipes the board with everything that it tries, and then her mobility, her scaling. It's the perfect champion against raw aggression. So T1 picked her early. They have option to pivot her mid or bot, and then DragonX just draft into her and say, here, just take the game.
Well, we'll have to see what happens actually on the Rift here, as so far DRX are laning relatively well. We're checking out some of the runes here. Glacial Augment obviously is going to be the choice onto Chovy, as Canna gets his face broken and then Haymade, but otherwise he's all right. And Elam moving up towards the top side of the map is going to be clearing out vision as he goes. It's a full clear from Pyoshik, as he will find his Krug camp and then maybe go for a cheeky little recall or look for a Rift Scuttler of his own as one spawn towards the bottom side, as you can see. As Elam will be able to take down this top side Rift Scuttle, as Doran now finds himself on the wrong side of the map, walking towards Elam here. No extra movement speed as Elam moves on back. We're going to be fine.
Well, let's see how everything is going here. First pick for Chovy on the Nico here in the mid lane. And really, I feel like for a region that is so stubborn to change up their picks and adapt to new things, Nico's buffs left much to still be desired. in the most recent patch. So it's so confusing to me that we've seen her actually quite a few times now.
We got a lot
here
of players
in the
that really
LCK.
like her. I think that might be it. You know, Faker was very good on the Nico while she was meta, but then she sort of got nerfed and was moved out of favor. And maybe it's just that LCK players really like what the Nico does for a team composition. Don't know. I share your, you know, befuddlement. A bit of a cheeky recall. Yeah, for effort.
All right, well, Canna up here in top lane is just probably trying to get this recall off, and that means it's a really good timing by Pioshik. We'll see how greedy Canna might be. Actually, not greedy at all, just waiting for the pillar. Oh, no.
Ooh.
Oh, actually, it looks like he's just building.
Yeah.
Not going for a recall, and maybe he feels like he can't go for a recall because you can see that Doran is threatening a freeze. And if Canna would recall TP onto the minion wave, that's actually even worse if he would end up dying. So his lane state is in a really rough position, and he's dead.
Yep, there's the flash facebreaker, and I believe if Pioshik lands one undertow, it's going to be lights out. And now Canna's just trying not to give away any assists. As the flash comes in, Pioshik not going to be able to find it, and Canna ran them around the Rosie and will be able to get out just fine. Okay. That was unexpected.
Alice.
Yeah.
He didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Well,
That has to be one of the most tilting things in the world.
that's bad
I don't
news.
know why I find it so funny. But now Canna is the one that's actually winning top lane with the freeze on his side of the map. And what a nightmare situation for Doran after having done such a good job to set that up. And I don't even think Canna was expecting to get out there, to be completely frank with you.
No, he was just trying to deny an assist. That's what it felt like. But nope, he just flashes the wall and he's fine. All right, well, I mean, these things happen. And let's see whether DRX can bounce back from it. As you see, Teddy, 10 CS advantage there as Faker diving onto Chovy just a little. But the Nico will be just fine, continues to farm very effectively. This Canna's actually ahead in experience right now against Doran. Oh dear.
In Faker in mid lane, he has the Berserker Greaves as his first item. Seeker's Arm Guard, obviously, for the Nico in order to have a lot of value against the Trundle and the Lucian. And they're just basically going even for the most part. T1 did get themselves the Mountain Dragon. That's really nice for the Trundle, Nautilus, and the Ornn.
Yeah, high value Drake for them. Next is an Ocean, a possibility for the Infernal Soul or the Cloud Soul. That is
You know, I actually
one
don't
hell of
even
a coin
mind
flip.
Cloud Soul in this game for T1.
Oh yeah,
Not
the T1 is
for-
actually pretty good.
Yeah, not for the ultimate CDR, but for the fact that the mobility is so valuable against everything DRX is trying to achieve inside of the team fights. DRX has such a reliance on sticking onto T1 and making sure that they can hold them down, get all their damage out, and Cassiopeia and Lucian, all they're trying to do is dance around and constantly rain down damage. So as it stands right now, I mean, Trundle, he's just continuing to farm. Olaf can't really do anything at this point. Pioshik, I mean, he's going to come over to the right-hand side, but there's no kill.
We might need to give that ward a name coming up pretty soon because it survived for quite a while. We'll see. Keep it in the back of your mind. As Chovy clears out the mid lane once again, but Faker has gone into the darkness. Pioshik wanders over the Rift Scuttle Vision to start up Shelly right here. You can see Ornn moving on down. This is dangerous for Pioshik.
This is really scary. It's happening at a very bizarre timing where they do have all of their members, but T1 is here as well. Chovy has to flash away. This can get really scary.
Well, Yornhorn comes down. We're looking for it. Good knock up onto Death, taken down very low. There's the Pop Blossom. Chovy just in the middle of nowhere, unable to do anything as the culling rains down onto the Xayah. There is nothing DRX can do in this fight. One kill down as Faker is taken out. Carrier probably going to fall too, though, and that's a double kill for Teddy. He is on form here today. 3-1 is going to be the kill score.
It's going to be 3-1, and Chovy did skirt on over. He picked up the Rift Herald for himself. He's going to have a couple of minutes to use that, but I mean, getting advantages while being the scaling team is the opposite of what is good for DRX. LM also gets to level 7, has a level advantage over the Trundle, or over the Olaf, which is very surprising. Take a look at this team fight again. Now remember, they just got the flash out in mid lane, and so Teddy joining the fray. Faker goes right over the wall. Says he's not interested in that Pop Blossom. He pops Depth instead. Doran does manage to get onto Faker, and that was a really good job by him. Faker didn't really have anywhere to move, so the Haymaker ends up finishing him off, and that cat really,
so
really
sad.
sad. You know?
It's not what you want. Don't do that. Don't kill the cat.
Yeah.
You alienate your viewers. It's not okay. It's like, what was that? What was that Will Smith movie? I Am Legend. They made the fundamental mistake.
The dog?
Oh, God. Hate that movie. Oh, hate it so much.
I actually like the movie, but
yeah,
there's definitely a lot
that
of sad
moment
parts.
lost, like, the whole movie's gone for me after that. I liked it otherwise. Really liked the premise. Super cool. Hate the movie. Terrible. Awful movie. Don't watch it. Anyway,
Well,
DragonX continue to try and pull their way back into this game and in this series. Remember, this is match point for T1. It means that they basically secure second place with a win here.
yes. I mean, it's kind of unfathomable to assume that they would lose any more games that would allow DragonX to catch up, because we assume that both of these teams are basically going to win against everyone that isn't the top 3.
Yeah.
Like, they're only capable of really beating each other is what the perception is right now as it stands. So this is a very big victory for T1 if they do manage to get it.
Well, there's the Pop Blossom. Should be Canna falling down with stun, so couldn't actually push the Ornn back. Sorry, the goat back. And Ornn is going to fall. But you can see Ellen just taking the Ocean Drake. Next is going to be Cloud. So if it was Infernal, then maybe there is a world where DRX just gets 4 Infernal Drakes and is able to turn this game. But now, with the Drakes being largely favoring T1 as far as the soul is concerned, it's really bad news for DRX. Doran scaling up is good. T1 will be able to get more plates here towards the bottom side and try and answer this. And the gold is slightly in favor of DRX as the dust settles.
Well, Cloud Soul is going to be the one of the game. We mentioned earlier, don't really mind it all that much. Blade of the Ruin King on Doran this time around, which is a little surprising. He's still probably going to build the Black Cleaver.
Yeah, it's what he wanted to do last game, I think, but just didn't. He sold his Vampiric Scepter in the end.
Yeah, it was very bizarre. And then the Black Cleaver is also a little bit questionable. Olaf obviously is going to get it himself, deals true damage. Take a look at the replay of Kana just dying, but I don't know what is with the lack of Trinity Force in LCK sets. It is definitely peculiar. Also,
Doran.
current state of this game. Okay.
Oh, there's the flash ultimate to come forward as Epic goes golden immediately, but Haymaker just puts him in the ground instantly. 3-3 now the kill score as things even up. And DRX, they're not out of it just yet. Looks like they're finding their stride here as we move towards the mid game.
Kana going to be able to get at least 2 turret plates. Now, the thing is that that blasting cone is available, so Kana's just going to strut himself down.
Okay, wants to find himself the fight. Facebreaker comes down, and the Blade of the Ruin King plus Conqueror is a lot of healing. As Pyoshik, he's moving on up as well. Remember, there's no turret here. Canna is almost definitely dead. As the Zoomies move in, Pyoshik is going to be so sticky on this Olaf. And they want to give Doran another... No, they're giving it over to Pyoshik. Yeah, throws the axe in the end, gets the kill.
Why would you give it to Olaf?
I don't know. I guess they want to try and get behind the Olaf with the
Play
Union.
devil's advocate for me. Why give it to the Olaf?
Because Olaf is empowered with the composition that DRX have. If you're talking about the Yumi Olaf, very strong, turns him into a theoretical carry. That's what I'm thinking.
Thank you for that, Atlas.
What do you think? Is it stupid?
I'm not thinking anything, but I am thinking that Doran is about to get a top tier 2 economic turret. So that's going to be really nice. That's normally not a turret that you get gold
볼게.
갈게.
Oh, very bright
Okay.
screen.
Yeah.
As
노플.
빼.
Nautilus no flash, Nautilus no flash. And also really interesting, again, we saw the chat box in that replay, and Kyria types out all of the champion names in Korean rather than just writing like a role, which is really interesting.
Very interesting.
Bit different. Normally don't see that too much.
And you can actually ping champions as well. So interesting that he's done that. Might be able to ask them that question if we get in contact with the Korean broadcast. Not entirely sure. As Teddy moves over a DRX ward. But Cloud Drake in a minute and a half, and it's gonna feel really bad for DRX because I feel like they have to deny Cloud Drakes even though they don't necessarily want to stack them. It will be something that's good. I mean, having Ragnarok up over and over again, Pop Blossom's really good, and of course Featherstorm is another one, but it's not going to give the same value as it gives T1 in each team fight if you're talking about the Cloud Soul, which T1 are 2 Drakes closer to.
Well, as it does currently stand, T1 moving back into mid lane. Cassiopeia is not really at her superpower breakpoint yet, where she just starts becoming a menace. And obviously she goes all the way to 6 items.
Yeah.
I mean, Atlas, I want to ask you something. If you think, looking at DRX's team composition, what boots do you think Teddy should get this game?
I would say none. Because if you don't have Fate, I just don't see a reason for the old boots. You know?
You passed.
Thanks,
You
man.
definitely did. Not sure if Valdez would have passed that one.
Well, I mean, but okay. Gonna try and start a fight here as the final chapter does come in. Teddy gonna go down relatively low, but look at how durable he is. My God, there's the ultimate into the backline. Death grabs one of the kills, and he's pretty untouched in the backline. Chovy grabs one off to the side as well. But you can see Teddy still at full health. Faker at full health, and Canna a brick wall in the front line. It's 2 for 2 in the end, but T1, they still want more. Deft doesn't have ult available anymore, but the Zoomies are going to be there. Carrier tanking up exactly the damage that he needed to. As Chovy moves on back in, Teddy taking some damage. Pop Blossom, sorry, not Pop Blossom, the Blooming Burst coming down there, but DRX have deterred T1 from moving back towards the Drake pit.
And all the healing given out by Yuumi
And teleport
has
back from
actually
Doran.
managed to make it so that T1 is going to lose this Cloud Dragon, which is really sad. They could have just turned immediately around and gut the dragon after winning the initial victory.
Oh, looks like they
Well,
might
actually,
be able
no.
to. Yeah.
Okay. It's going to go the way of T1.
Not enough damage as Deft stayed in the mid lane.
Yeah, Deft stayed in the mid lane for reasons unknown, as he was just trying to push that in. Now, Deft might be a little bit frustrated. He still doesn't even have his first core item yet at this team fight. Now, he did just complete an Essence Reaver. Has the call in his pocket as well. We take a look at the replay. This is Teddy. Pay attention to his mouth.
야 빨리지 마 지금 들어가자
Saying, let's go.
자야
Nico no ult. Zaya no ult.
이거 초식이 자야 노고 나이스
Nico
유미까지
has stopwatch?
좀만 봐줘 바비 용마가 갈래?
Said Nico had something. I think that the word that they used was the Korean word for stopwatch.
Aha.
Yes.
It sounded a little bit like that. I did know the word for watch. But I'm certainly not up there with the amount of Korean knowledge that you have, so I will defer to you. As Faker up towards the top side has Elam in his back pocket. So it's not going to be Doran being collapsed on just yet, as he's going to back away. Effort moving down the river here as well, and T1 have regained control. It's not necessarily showing in the gold score just yet, but that feeling of inevitability is really starting to sink in for T1.
Yeah, Ornn is gonna probably be able to get level 13, I would assume, by the next team fight. He has 3.5 minutes to do it. If he ends up doing that, he will get the Sunfire Cape upgrade as well as the Infernal Mask on himself. Blade of the Ruin King gonna be able to be upgraded level 14 into Might of the Ruin King.
Yep.
Cassiopeia, super good position inside of this game as well. Has the Seraph's Embrace. Looks like a bit of Build-A-Bear on Teddy. No pun intended. As Oblivion Orb, Seeker's Arm Guard, Fiendish Codex, and Blasting Wand. So he can either go into Zanya's, or he can go into Morello, or he can go into Banshee's Veil.
Or
It's like a
anything
choose-your-own
else, you know?
adventure.
He's got a blasting one. You can build basically it's straight into Leandri's from here. No worries. Let's go. But he's got a lot of money in comparison to his opposition. So Teddy, despite what he does, he's still going to be very, very strong. And still just somehow finds minions that other players don't know exist, I think. Don't know how that works, but he's 211 CS and far ahead of Deft at this point in time. Does show that elsewhere on the map, things are going a little bit better than they did in game number 1 for DRX. You can see mid lane Chovy has been farming very, very well, finding that side lane farm. You can see taking down the Krug camp right here, just farming up against Canna. Canna will clear out this minion wave very quickly and donate that over to the Nico, who will once again just have another free wave. And Deft is in the mid lane, parking himself there, trying to catch up to Teddy, which is very hard for anyone.
Well, game is in a bit of a lull state right now. We're mostly just going to have ping pong with the waves. Black Cleaver completed by Lucian second, so not going to actually be going into the crit Lucian off the Blade of the Ruin King. And honestly, there is only magic damage on his team, which is really surprising, especially given that there's no tanks really on the side of DRX, so a bit peculiar.
One of the stranger Black Cleaver pickups.
Yes.
As you can get 20% CDR from the Essence Reaver as well. But he probably will.
Morello was picked up by Cassio, so she will be able to reduce a lot of the healing in this upcoming team fight. There is the Yuumi, she has the Athenes, and I mean, Set even has Blade of the Ruin King, so that plus passive plus Conquer, I guess. There is some value of it, and it's probably the... Oh, actually, gets Zanya's Hourglass, too, so he's just completing everything, Atlas.
Yeah, he's a big boy. A very big boy. Has almost maximized his bounty yet again. Here in game number 2, 4-0-0 is pretty good for the Cassiopeia. I have a feeling it might be a relatively lonely POG interview if the game continues going the way it is going. The Shape Splitter out for Chovy, just to try and scout the area. Get some vision over. And DRX now need to deny this Cloud Soul, because that is the value of these Cloud Drakes, honestly.
Well, let's take a look at what is going to end up happening, as this is Cloud Soul, and if they get it, the added mobility and how much value it's going to provide to the Cassiopeia and the Lucian and the Trundle too.
Yeah.
Can't really be understated. It's going to be super good. T1, though, pushing mid lane. DRX looking like they just want to shove it down. Now, if they take a lot of damage from the Cloud Dragon, things could be bad. Chovy is just actually joining his team.
Yeah, he's trying to get into flanking position as the Ornhorn comes back and knocks Deft up into the air as the Cloud Soul is going to be denied by DRX. And now the Facebreaker onto 3 members. Gigantic damage with the Haymaker as well. Doran owning this fight at the beginning. Deft takes down Teddy, a huge pickup there, and keeps himself alive, trying to kite Elim where he can. Chovy just keeping everyone at bay, but Deft falls down, and this might be the end of DRX. Effort in trouble. Faker also trying to run away. Pioshik somehow still alive in amongst 3 people, but eventually will fall down. Chovy at full health, has a little cat in a book with him, but in the end, it is just going to be that denial of the Cloud Drake that DRX walk away with.
They deny the Cloud Dragon, and it's not like it's a super valuable dragon for them. None of them are using their ultimates off cooldown. Let's take a look at this again. The pillar comes out. Doran going in onto Ornn. Superplex, well, gets knocked up, superplexes, and gets canceled by Kana with the Bellows Breath. Really nice smite by Pioshik, but a beautiful face breaker right there on the set, and everyone was just getting in on the action. It was feeding season at that little nook and cranny there at the entrance to blue, as you can see Deft on the top right-hand side. Now watch this attempted outplay by Pioshik. After Kana flashes the wall, the control ward and the smite over in order to get a large amount of HP that Canna probably was not expecting. Ended up working out. T1 now trying to burst out. Never mind.
Yeah, the Baron's just dead.
Yeah, Baron's just dead. Thank you, Alice.
Would have been good to understand how that situation arrived, but I think it was T1 just making another decisive choice here on the map. And they do this. They're the ones that test the waters. And that time, instead of having to peel, they were just able to keep on the Drake. Keep on the Baron and take that one down. And now T1 with a huge advantage. So, I do want to talk about Deft picking up the 1,000 gold from Teddy. That is a good news story for DRX fans. Has himself his Infinity Edge that he didn't have in the last fight, as well as moving towards his third item, which is oh so important. Faker will take down this outer turret topside, but there might be a hope for DRX.
The thing is that DRX had the dream draft spot and game state in the last game and still got outmuscled by T1. This time, T1 is the one with all the advantages and the better draft. They're continuing to coast forward in this game, and
yeah,
T1's really scary when they get draft edges. That is, it's a nice thing to end up seeing, and the ornaments are starting to come in now. Canna, only level 14, probably about to ding 15 soon, and we'll have to see if he upgrades to Might of the Ruined King or Obsidian Cleaver on the Lucian, but there's just so much value and power inside of T1's comp, and so even if they don't do anything with this Baron, they removed it from the map, they got the XP, they got all the extra added gold, and it almost converts into when Cloud Dragon ends up coming up, so not the end of the world if they don't end the game with it.
Yeah, they're able to just control the map with it, right? And being able to make the map smaller and smaller for DRX as we count down the timer to the Cloud Drake and the inevitable, or it feels inevitable, Cloud Soul coming in as Doran finds Blade of the Ruined King onto Canna. No bit of damage there, but does have to move away in the end. Teddy gets rid of those minions. This is not, it doesn't feel like a siege Baron. And of course T1 doesn't siege necessarily very well because of their short range. But they're going to try. See her bottom side. 4 members waiting under the turret here on DRX's side, and we're getting a demonstration as to how it can be a little bit difficult, especially without the Lucian, as the wave clear is pretty decent for DRX.
Well, Cloud Soul is, or Soul Point is going to be available again in just 1 minute. Chovy almost has his third item completed. Onto Nico here in mid lane. Not really getting super insane value is DRX at this point in the game, and this is where it does feel bad, where they're not really waiting for anything major. Olaf's the same champion, Set's going to be the same champion in the next team fight as well. He has the Blade of the Ruined King, has Black Saber. What is he going to get next? Another 150 HP or something? It doesn't change anything. It's not a major break point. Olaf going to do the same thing, and so even though Chovy now completed to Zanya's Hourglass, he had the stopwatch before. He's basically the same champion. So they're going to do this song and a dance one more time. And for such an insane setup that they had last time, the insane Facebreaker, the really good Pop Blossom, things just didn't work out. But T1 is a lot stronger this time around. Obsidian Cleaver now upgraded on the Lucian. Essence Reaver as well. Needlessly Large Rod, as well as an Amp Tome on the Cassiopeia.
Not to mention positional advantage as well.
Yeah.
His Faker underneath his outer turret, which is still alive. And now Teddy's just started off this Cloud Drake. DRX, no idea that that's even happening. They do actually know, they know. They just can't find a way in as now Cloud Soul is thrown out. Koshik already down to so little health. Before he's even done anything, there's the ult into the backline, but Doran immediately just evaporates Deft, doing a fair bit of damage, but now everyone dives on top of him. There's the Feather Storm. He's able to keep himself alive for the moment as Chovy now getting chased down by Faker, and it's Deft and Carrier versus the world. Blade Caller comes in, but it's T1 able to follow them to the ends of the earth. Chovy still getting hunted by a very angry Faker. And despite the fact that, you know, their carries are still alive theoretically, DRX don't have anything to do right now.
Nope. As they are charging towards the middle inhibitor. Now, Doran and Koshik will both come up, and the HP on the T1 members are very low. Just going to raise the middle inhibitor turret. Faker crashed in the bot wave. They're going to reset one more time, get more item completions, and probably some elixirs as well. I would imagine. Faker going to pick up the red buff on the Lucian. They have the Cloud Soul. The next team fight is going to be so lopsided, just like the one that we just witnessed. And the only change in items is Set now has a stone plate. So
It might help. It might help. Who knows?
he might live a little bit longer.
Killshot just gets chunked and he's doing nothing.
Doing absolutely nothing. Now, Doran, he gets a beautiful ultimate in. Nico with the Pop Blossom. They don't have any damage. Their champions are so much worse. And I'm thinking to myself as I'm watching this nice team comp, as there's nothing that they can do. They're at an item deficit. They're at level deficits. Also, I mean, there is a Mountain Dragon, for what it's worth, over on T1. And we are getting really late in the game, so even base resistances are really high. So a little bit of a kick there. Ornn and Trundle obviously getting a lot of value out of that. Nautilus as well. And now we're just waiting for the Baron to come up, and DRX is going to try to make one last stand, and it'll be just that, the last stand.
Well, Deft, I think, has his third item. He has an elixir as well. So he knows how important this next team fight is, but I just don't know whether he's got enough in the tank to be able to lock that one down. You can see Scuttle Vision there for DRX, so at least they've got that available to them as Faker. Seen by the spooky ghosts, but they're just not that spooky. These are like Mario spooky ghosts instead of like horror movie spooky ghosts, you know? They might be called Boo, but they're not scary, they're adorable. Now, DRX clear out the mid lane and look to try and clear some of T1's vision as well. 5,000 gold isn't huge, but when you factor in the ornaments, it's much bigger than you would otherwise think. It's a worry of a situation here for DRX, who are desperate to try and hold on to their position in this series.
This is a little feels bad. We see that Rabadon's death cap is actually being built on Teddy, so a little unfortunate that he upgraded his ornament. But you can understand why he did it at the time that he did do it, so definitely has value as well against the Set, Olaf, and the Xayah.
Yep, get
But
power
Rabadon's
as soon as
Death Crown,
possible.
Yeah, one of the best items that you can upgrade as Ornn. Knight's Vow on the Trundle, I love it as an item. Just makes it so much harder for the carries to end up going down, and here we go.
Yep, that's the Rabadon's death cap completed as the stone plate can be activated by Doran. Haymaker is in, but he just dies on the miasma. Final chapter is out, but that's just a very dead top laner and not a lot for DRX to show for it.
Gonna move over to the Baron immediately. There's no way for DRX to contest this.
They're not even going to try. Deft is bottom lane.
What?
Deft is bottom lane, so there's no contesting it.
Okay. Deft is just trying to farm as much resources as he possibly can. And we're just waiting for the game-ending push. The only way for DRX to win this game,
Tell me,
is if it somehow goes to Elder. Olaf flashes the wall, wins the smite fight, and then a 5-man Elder Dragon execution with a bot wave in good proximity to just run up bot lane and end.
All right. Well, we'll see whether that can happen. Don't know. I mean, I think if that happens, right, you're correct. The likelihood is probably very low, as there's the dredge line. It's going to land, but it's onto the Olaf, not necessarily the priority target. Or is it, as Faker almost melts him, as Doran in the backline does absolutely nothing. He can't really affect this game anymore, as Chovy trying to offer the CC, trying to offer the damage, but he just can't. DRX, there's just nothing left in the tank of this composition. As the final chapter is exactly that for DRX in this series. It will be the 2-0 for T1, and just like round one, they'll be able to topple DragonX and do so in style.
And a very convincing game number 2 victory here by T1.